Hey guys, tonight let's imagine ourselves slipping quietly into another world, one far removed from the rush and noise of today. You are about to drift back into a medieval village, a place where stone, wood, and earth make up almost everything around you. You are no great lord or knight riding out in armor. No, you are one of the countless peasants whose life is bound to the soil. Your days are shaped by the fields that stretch beyond your cottage door, and your nights are filled with the heavy rest that only endless labor can bring. So, as you close your eyes, picture yourself there, in a small thatched house at the edge of a village, on the land of a lord whose fields you tend. The first sound that reaches you is not a clock, not an alarm, but the crowing of a rooster. It slices through the misty silence before the sun has risen. Inside your cottage, the air is cool and damp. The fire that burned yesterday has long since gone to ash, and your breath makes a faint cloud in the chill. You stir from your straw-stuffed mattress, a rough sack of reeds and straw that scratches your skin but has become so familiar that you hardly notice. The faint rustle of others moving nearby reminds you that you are not alone. Your family stirs in the dim light, your children murmuring softly in their sleep. The walls of the cottage are made of wattle and daub, the simple weave of sticks and clay, and they do little to keep out the morning air. A single small window lets in the faintest hint of pale gray light, and you know the day has begun, whether you are ready or not. Rising is not a choice. The Lord's land must be worked, and your own small patch of garden tended as well. If you linger, the sun will not wait for you, so you push back the coarse woolen blanket and put your feet down on the packed earth floor. It is cold underfoot, and you shiver a little, wrapping your rough tunic around yourself. The first task is always to coax life back into the hearth. The fire must be sparked again from a few hidden embers if you are lucky, or struck anew from flint and steel. Soon, a faint flicker of flame begins to dance, casting long shadows across the low ceiling. The smoke curls upward, escaping through the small hole in the roof, though much of it lingers in the air, clinging to your hair and clothing until it becomes part of you. With the fire comes warmth, and with warmth, the stirring of appetite. The morning meal is simple, often nothing more than coarse, bread baked from barley or rye. The bread is heavy and dark, sometimes flavored with a little salt, sometimes eaten plain. If yesterday's work was good, perhaps there is a scrap of cheese left to add. A little ale or weak beer might be drunk, for water is not always clean and safe. You chew slowly, not rushing, because you know this will be the fuel to carry you through long hours ahead. Outside, the village is slowly waking too. You hear the bleating of goats, the low moo of a cow needing to be milked, the soft voices of neighbors calling quietly as they rise. Smoke begins to curl from other cottages, and the damp smell of earth rises as dew clings to the grass. Somewhere in the distance, the bell of the village church rings faintly, calling the faithful to prayer. Even if you cannot attend right now, the sound marks the passage of time, reminding you that the day belongs to God and the Lord alike. You step outside into the cool air, stretching your arms as the horizon brightens. The sky is a canvas of pale blue and gray, with streaks of soft pink where the sun is preparing to climb. The fields stretch out ahead, shrouded in mist. They are not your own, not fully, for the Lord claims the best land, but they are where your body will bend and strain until evening comes. Before you can head there, though, there are animals to tend. A chicken clucks at your feet, pecking at the ground. You scatter a little grain, hoping it will lay eggs today. A pig grunts from the pen, and you toss in scraps to quiet it. If you are fortunate, you have a cow or two, and milking them is both a necessity and a blessing, for milk means butter and cheese later. These small chores are as much a part of survival as the great work of plowing and sowing. Children help where they can, though they are often still drowsy, rubbing their eyes as they carry water from the well or gather kindling. You glance toward them, half with pride, half with worry. For in a peasant's world, every small illness can be a shadow of fear. Yet they are strong for now, and their laughter lightens the load, even if only a little. By the time the animals are fed, the bread is eaten and the tools are gathered. The sun is pushing its way higher, spilling gold across the misty fields. It is not bright and clear yet, but the first warmth begins to touch your skin. You sling a simple wooden hoe across your shoulder, or perhaps the heavy iron-tipped plow waits in the field, tied to a patient ox. These tools are crude but vital, the line between hunger and survival. Your body may ache already, the memory of yesterday's labor never fully gone, but you do not think of rest. Instead, you look out across the furrows waiting to be cut, the seeds waiting to be sown, the weeds waiting to be pulled. The land stretches out like an endless canvas, and your work is the brush stroke that will shape its colors. And so, with your neighbors nearby, with your children darting around the edges, with your wife or husband walking beside you, you set off toward the fields. The village behind you murmurs with life, but ahead lies the greater silence of earth and sky, broken only by the rhythm of tools striking soil, of voices calling faintly across the land, of birds rising into the morning air. The day has truly begun, and you, a humble peasant bound to the fields, step forward into the endless rhythm of work, where each sunrise is both the same and new. The first warmth of the fire still lingers inside your cottage as the morning stretches forward. You have eaten your coarse bread, perhaps dipped into a little milk if fortune smiled, and now the day calls you to the small, yet necessary tasks that hold your life together. Before you can step into the Lord's vast fields, you must see to your own modest corner of the world, for animals and home demand care no less than the soil. You move slowly, not with the rush of a modern morning, but with the steady rhythm of one who knows the day will be long. Each task blends into the next, familiar and unchanging. These little duties are as much a part of life as breathing, so much so that you hardly think of them as separate. Yet without them, survival would falter. The goat tied near the shed stamps impatiently, waiting for you to approach with hands ready to milk. Its warm breath puffs into the cool morning air as you crouch down. The smell of hay, damp with dew, rises around you. The stream of milk into the small wooden pail is steady, comforting. Each drop feels like security. A little butter to churn, a little cheese to form. You know these things will keep hunger away. When the bread grows hard and the larder grows bare, nearby, chickens scratch at the earth, their feathers ruffled as they cluck and peck. You gather eggs from the nest, careful not to break the fragile shells. An egg might seem small, but to you it is a gift, a little protein that gives strength in a world where meat is scarce. Your pig grunts behind its pen, rooting at the ground. It will not be slaughtered until winter, for meat is precious and cannot be wasted. For now, you feed it scraps, knowing each mouthful adds to the weight that will one day feed your family. Children dart in and out of these chores. A son fies a wooden bucket at the well, staggering under the weight as he brings it to the cottage. The rope creaks against the pulley, water sloshing over his bare feet as he laughs at his own clumsiness. A daughter gathers kindling for the hearth, her hands blackened with soot, but her face bright with determination. They are young, But they learned quickly that every pair of hands counts. Childhood is brief, for work claims them early. As you move through these chores, the sounds of the village mingle with your own. Dogs bark as they chase each other across the muddy paths. A neighbor calls out a greeting, their voice carrying easily through the morning stillness. The distant clang of iron tells you that the blacksmith has already begun his labor, hammer striking anvil in a rhythm that echoes like a heartbeat. Somewhere, a woman sings softly as she tends to her own tasks, her voice rising and falling with the clatter of pots. Inside the cottage, your wife, or perhaps it is you, if you are the woman of the house, kneads dough for the next loaf of bread. The flour is coarse, ground from barley or rye, mixed with water and salt. The dough sticks to her fingers, but she works patiently, shaping it into a round that will be baked on the hearth's hot stones. Bread is the center of every meal, the staple that never disappears, and though it is heavy and dark, it fills the stomach. The cottage itself is humble, little more than a single room. Smoke from the fire stains the low beams, and rushes strewn across the floor grow dirty and damp, replaced only when they rot. In one corner, tools lean against the wall. A hoe, a spade, perhaps a wooden rake. In another, baskets and clay pots hold whatever scraps of food remain. There is little space for comfort, yet it is home. Its walls, though thin, shelter you from wind and rain. You pause for a moment, letting your gaze wander to the tiny garden just beyond the door. This patch of soil is yours to tend, unlike the Lord's fields. Here you grow vegetables, onions, cabbages, perhaps some beans or peas. In good years, they provide a little variety in your diet, something beyond the bread and porridge that otherwise fill your days. In bad years, when frost comes early or rains come late, the garden yields little, and hunger presses harder. Still, it is a place of hope, a reminder that the earth gives to those who coax it patiently. The morning deepens as the sun climbs higher, burning away the last of the mist. Birds swoop overhead, their songs bright against the quiet hum of work. You know that soon, your feet must carry you beyond the boundary of your small plot, across the open paths that lead to the Lord's great fields. There, your body will bend and strain, hour after hour, to turn soil and scatter seed. But before that long labor, you linger in these smaller chores, grounding yourself in the rhythm of home. Sometimes, you pause to think of how much your life is tied to these simple patterns. There is no luxury, no leisure. You cannot imagine a morning spent idly, for even in sickness or storm, the animals must be fed, the fire lit, the bread made. And yet, in these routines, there is a kind of stability. You know what must be done, and you do it. The predictability wraps around you like a blanket, even if it is worn and thin. The children's laughter fades as they are sent with you toward the fields. A wooden yoke is lifted onto your shoulders, buckets hanging from either side as you carry water to the animals once more. Your back strains, but you do not falter. The smell of damp earth clings to your clothes, mixing with the smoke of the fire, the sweat of your brow. This is the scent of peasant life, one that marks you wherever you go. By now, the cottage hums with readiness. Bread has been baked, tools gathered, animals tended. You cast one last look around, making sure nothing has been forgotten. The hearth glows faintly, promising warmth when you return, though by then the sun will be sinking. The children gather at your side, and your partner walks beside you, carrying a basket or a bundle. Together, you step out into the brightening morning, joining the slow stream of neighbors moving toward the open land. The chores of morning are done, Ahead lies the vastness of the fields, waiting to claim the strength of your body until evening falls again. The morning has grown brighter now, the mist dissolving into the sky as the sun pushes higher above the horizon. You and your family step away from the cottage, leaving the small garden and the tethered animals behind. A hoe rests across your shoulder, its wooden handle worn smooth by years of use. Beside you, your children walk lightly, their bare feet splashing in the puddles left from yesterday's rain. Your partner carries a bundle, perhaps food wrapped in cloth for the midday rest. Together, you join the quiet procession of villagers heading out toward the open fields. The path is little more than a muddy track, rutted by cartwheels and scarred by the hooves of oxen. Along its edges grow weeds and wildflowers, the last remnants of untamed land clinging to the boundaries of cultivation. Birds dart between the hedgerows, their wings flashing in the morning light. The air is cool still, but you can feel the warmth gathering, promising a long day of toil under the sun. Neighbors walk near you, their voices low and steady. No one shouts. There is no need. The sound of many feet moving together is enough, a rhythm of life repeated day after day. Some carry scythes, their blades glinting faintly. Others lead oxen on ropes, the heavy beasts plodding slowly, patient as stone. Children chatter to each other, skipping a few steps ahead, but even their energy soon softens into the steady pace of the group. As you move farther from the cottages, the village shrinks behind you. The sound of dogs barking fades, replaced by the distant ringing of the church bell. Ahead, the fields stretch out like an ocean of earth, furrows already cut in some places, waiting in others. These are not your fields, not truly. They belong to the Lord, the man whose manor stands in the distance like a stone sentinel. Yet they are also yours, in the sense that your body will break itself upon them, season after season, turning soil into bread, labor into survival. The manor itself rises faintly at the horizon, its gray stone walls catching the light. It is larger than any cottage, its roof tiled rather than thatched, its halls filled with tapestries and guarded doors. You do not hate it, you simply know it as part of the world. The Lord's power is as fixed as the rising of the sun. You bow your head slightly when your thoughts stray toward it, not from love, but from acceptance. Just as the earth demands toil, the manor demands service. Your feet sink into the soft earth of the path, each step carrying you deeper into the heart of the fields. You pass strips of land where barley grows, others where wheat will soon be sown. The open field system stretches out in endless lines, each family assigned narrow strips scattered across the expanse. You recognize your own among them, long and thin, marked not by fences but by memory and custom. It is here that your work truly begins, though it feels endless to look upon. Around you, the land breathes with life. In one corner, a group of women bends low, gathering herbs for food or medicine. In another, a pair of men guide their oxen, wooden plow cutting furrows through the damp soil. The sound of the beasts' hooves, the creak of leather harnesses, the call of voices urging them forward, all blend into a steady music of labor. Above it all, the cries of crows echo, for they too watch the sowing, waiting for their chance to steal a seed. You pause for a moment, taking in the sight. The vastness of the land could overwhelm you, but you know better than to think of it as a whole. The field is worked one furrow at a time, one row after another. What seems infinite becomes manageable only by repetition. Your body bends, rises, bends again. Each movement is small, but together they stretch into a lifetime. The path brings you closer to the workers already busy. You greet them with a nod, perhaps a quiet word. Faces are tired, lined with years of sun and wind, but they carry the same determination as yours. These are not strangers, but companions in labor. Together, you endure the same hardships, share the same meager joys. If one falls ill, others will carry a little of the burden. If one prospers slightly, it brings hope to all. The village is bound together, not by choice but by necessity. The oxen lumber ahead, their breath steaming in the cool air. Their pace is slow, yet steady, and you fall into step behind them, your hoe tapping lightly against your shoulder. The smell of soil grows stronger, rich and damp, promising growth if the season is kind. You think of the seeds waiting in sacks, each small grain a chance at life. To scatter them is to place faith in the unseen. Rain, sun, and the will of God. At last, you reach the strip of land that is yours to tend. It looks no different from the others, yet you recognize it instantly. You set down your tools, flex your hands, and breathe in deeply. Around you, the chorus of labor continues, voices calling to oxen, the rasp of tools striking earth, the low murmur of prayers whispered beneath breath. The day stretches ahead, long and unbroken, but for now, you stand at the edge, ready to step into it. The walk is over, the fields await, and so, with a final glance at the sun climbing higher into the sky, you lower your tool, grip it firmly, and prepare to turn earth into the promise of harvest.